Content warnings. This episode contains topics that might be triggering to some listeners. The episode includes discussion of parental death, murder, and suicide, mentions of gun violence, and psychic abilities. Please listen with caution.
Your dad must have something like the equivalent of a couple hundred trees in here, dude. How does one man have so much paper?
The man kept everything.
Bet. I just saw a tax return from 1982.
Oh, this is a nightmare.
It has been for a while now.
I'm going to think out loud here, if that's all right with you two.
Please. It would be great to hear thoughts that aren't my own.
Okay. I'm going back to our puzzle analogy. We've got a few more pieces of information to fit in. Now, we've got 1, your dad's a ghost. 2, your father was murdered. 3, you have an estranged uncle. 4, everything was left to your uncle. 5...
Do we even need 5? That sounds like motive to me.
Omitting evidence is just as unhelpful as planting it. Go on, Horatio.
Right. 5. Claudius hasn't claimed any of his new property, and in fact encouraged you to look into the validity of the will. To me, that doesn't suggest a lot of subterfuge. If Claudius were trying to pull a fast one, why would he give you a chance to see through it like that? It doesn't make sense. Unless, of course, that's exactly why he's doing it.
Option 2. Maybe Claudius didn't mess with the will. Maybe everything really was left to him.
We have to consider that, but I don't think so. My father was very open about this kind of thing. Years ago, when he was first having a will written up, he told my mother and I that he was leaving everything to us. Hell, I think my mother was there for some of the legal appointments. Something changed drastically between the writing of the will and the reading of it. Whether my father was involved in that change is what we have to question.
And we still need to factor in 6. Your father's ghost said he felt like he was made to shoot himself. That's worrying.
I still can't wrap my head around that part. It's not like someone could hold a gun to a man's head to make him shoot himself in the head. It's redundant, a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So I can't help but think we're not talking about coercion as much as we are a more literal interpretation.
Earth to Hamlet and Horatio. We're skipping over the most likely possibility.
Oh? What's that?
Blackmail. If someone approached him and threatened to, reveal something from his past, your father might have killed himself to protect his family and his business.
My father did keep secrets. Like Claudius, if we're believing the brother's story. But that doesn't explain the ghost saying he was compelled.
Still, maybe instead of rifling through the veritable forest of useless old papers, we should look into who your father met with the week or so before his death.
You mentioned his appointment book right after the funeral. Do you still have it?
The police wanted to take it away as evidence. It was covered in blood and other things.
That doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, I still have it. Wait here.
Do we want to talk about the fact that Hamlet is maybe withholding evidence from the police? Evidence that may have changed their minds about calling it a suicide?
Not really, no.
You sure? It doesn't make any damn sense.
Nothing makes any damn sense right now, Feely. At this point, I'm just glad we have the appointment book. We've taken things into our own hands, but if we find something, there's no reason we can't take it to the police ourselves.
That's true. I'm just worried, I guess. Hamlet isn't thinking clearly.
Would you be?
Fair point.
Here it is. Don't mind the...
Massive blood stain?
Yeah.
Put it on the desk so we can all take a look.
Wow. My dad sure is in here a lot.
I don't think that's particularly unusual.
Still, it doesn't exactly knock him off the suspect list.
What about this? He has lunch blocked out, but there are no names.
He did that every week. It was a board meeting. Always standard, so he didn't need to label it.
Well, what about this on Wednesday? It just says DQ.
DQ? You think the Dairy Queen killed him?
It could be someone's initials.
Or it was cheat day and he wanted ice cream.
He didn't have a cheat day, and he was lactose intolerant. Besides, that's definitely a P.
Are you sure?
Absolutely sure. See how the letter comes down past the line?
I thought that was blood.
Even if it is a P,
It is.
does PQ mean something to you more than DQ?
No.
Great. So that gets us a big fat nothing.
Not necessarily. Hamlet, did your dad keep any other kind of record book? An address book, maybe?
He had a Rolodex somewhere around here. Check the second drawer.
Seriously, a Rolodex? Has this man never heard of going paperless? Even my dad has evolved past that.
Just be glad he hadn't upgraded and put everything on his phone. Then we'd be sitting here guessing passwords for days.
Got something. This card says PQ or DQ at the top, and there's an address written underneath. Nothing else.
Read me the address. I'll look the place up.
1909 Marksbury Street. That's downtown, isn't it?
I think so. Just a second. Oh. Wow. That's unexpected.
This isn't one of those that address has been vacant for 50 years things, right? Because I really can't take that right now.
It's there, all right. You guys just aren't gonna believe what it is. It's a psychic.
A psychic?
Uh-huh. Player Queen's psychic and tarot readings. I guess that answers the PQ versus DQ question.
And raises about 100 others.
What would my father be doing at a psychic of all places? He never believed in that kind of thing. He thought it was tantamount to daylight robbery. Ironic now that he's a ghost. Wait, do you think maybe the psychic made him a ghost? As punishment?
How do you make a ghost?
And punishment for what?
I don't know. I'm doing what Horatio did, thinking out loud. Does this place have a website? Can you find any more information about it?
Nope.
So, we go there?
That would be the natural progression, I think.
I'm just gonna put what we're all thinking out there and say, what if they make us a ghost?
Is this how we're referring to murder now? It was a stupid turn of phrase, I'll give you that, but it's not that funny.
I don't know if we have much of a choice, if we want to continue the investigation. Everything else in his appointment book looks completely innocuous. Right, Hem?
Very standard. A typical week.
So then, if we want to keep going on with this investigation, I think we're going to have to go down there.
Should we bring weapons?
The answer to that is almost always going to be a resolute no. Unless for some reason you want to insert ways for us to get made into ghosts for some reason.
No, you're right.
So just to recap, investigating a murder leads us to this psychic. Your dad is now a ghost, which is something very psychic adjacent. And we're just gonna go over there, knock on the door, and flat out ask them about it, giving them the opportunity to smite us or ghost us or whatever other horrible thing could be in store. Am I missing anything?
That seems to cover it.
I'll drive. Here we are, Player Queen, I See Dead People Incorporated. Special delivery.
What's our strategy?
To ask them if they remember my father. I have pictures on my phone I can show them.
Maybe we don't want to rush right in with the interrogation. I think we should try to get a feel for these people first. If it seems like we might be in danger, we can leave without having them any wiser.
I like this plan. Hamlet, we're doing Horatio's plan.
Fine with me.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Miss. How may I help you? A reading, perhaps? Or a consultation of the tarot?
We were just Just curious, the sign out front?
Is it called Player Queens because you play at being a queen, or because you're a queen who's a player?
Feely,
Step into my reading room and find out, Ophelia. I'd be happy to tell you.
How did you know my...
And you, Horatio, steadfast as you are, open your mind, and maybe you will learn the secrets of the cosmos. Or perhaps have some queries more dear to you answered.
Holy shit. Guys, let's...
wait. If you know the names of my friends, you must also know me, and therefore my father.
I know you well, Hamlet. Your father spoke of you. He was very fond of you. And worried, too. I wonder, have you had a visitation?
How are you doing this?
You say that like it's a trick. It's not. I know what is revealed to me, for I am the player queen, trusted confidant of forces I befriend, but never understand. I am the left hand of judgment and the right hand of fate. So tell me, adult children, what questions would you ask me?